All right, well, this is going to be my fourth video today making this. I'm having a little trouble getting the videos up, and also with my movie maker, so these aren't going to have intros or outros probably, unless that work gets better. But besides some of the other pretty crazy symbolism that I've already found with the Bride of Christ, I think that there's also some foreshadowing here about Obama, and I will show you what I found so far. I think that there are some messages being sent now, but on the surface, I just want to show you that they are showing, this is what they do. Like say you have CIA agents in a regular peaceful protest. The CIA agents are going to be the ones who knock over the cans, and they're going to try to lead the crowd in a destructive behavior by trying to blend in with the crowd and then displaying the behavior that they want the crowd to follow along. So here we have CNN and the news showing racial revenge behavior. Now, I don't think that this is a natural act, and like I said in my other videos, I think you need some more words to describe all the different levels of hoaxes. Like I'm not going to say that that nobody died. I'm not sure about that, but I kind of think probably nobody died, because one of my clues is that the mass media is feeling the pressure of being outed as having hoaxes. So this is why at the Charleston shooting, that's why they had open caskets. They were fake open caskets, but they were open caskets because they were feeling the heat of having it be outed that it was fake. Because that one, for example, was on the Homeland Security website as being a drill. Now, I know Obama sang at their funeral and everything, but it was on the website. It was a drill. So I think they're feeling the pressure from YouTubers maybe that these are hoaxes. So now they're trying to be more realistic. Like every now and then they show a cell phone video, and that's supposed to trick people into thinking that it's real. Or this where something surprising happens on air that hasn't happened before. So I just think they're just bringing it up another notch. But they're also showing you the behavior that they wish that they're trying to create, which is racial revenge. Now, first of all, there's a quote from this guy. Where's the quote? Something about I've been a powder keg for a while, waiting to go boom. So I just want to show you that from these numbers, this, besides being a 76, which is the spirit of 76 in the 1776 of the Bavarian Illuminati, besides that, it reduces to a 15. We saw the 115 numbers in the Antioch hatchet fiasco. So this is showing that connection. I can't remember the date of that one. But here we have a 711. And so they're showing you perfect, this is a perfect ratio type of saying. I've been a human powder keg for a while. So 711 is one of their favorite numbers. That's why it's on the convenience store. It has to do with a date. I think it has to do with the Hebrew equivalent of September. The seventh Hebrew date is month is Tishrei, and I think the days of Tishrei change. They're not always equal to our Gregorian calendar. So I'm not sure exactly what date they're pointing to with the 11th on the Hebrew calendar, but it is in September. So it's a date, but it's also, just my quick aside on 7-Eleven, has to do with the 7-Eleven convenience stores where they show on their sign the Valley of Death, and they have a red comet type of thing coming down through the E and the L, which is the word for Lord. It's El, like Gabriel, Elohim. That's the Lord word. And so they have that, and then that's and what it describes, the valley of the shadow of death is Psalm 23, and it does all tie into 923, ties into 711 through that psalm. And I also decoded the word psalm, and I don't have that right in my head for me to rattle off right now, but it fit in, and I don't remember how to say all that. This is, you can see, it's a 911 with a 15 on it, right? Do you see that? They like I've said in my other videos, they like to almost do like a Celtic knot with these numbers. They want it to go a bunch of different ways. They feel like, I think every way, every combination, I think they feel like is, you know, more power on the spell or something. So I just want to show you that his statement is most likely not real. This is not an authentic statement that somebody would say. Somebody has, with a gematria computer, figured out this statement, and then they put it up in the news. So on this page, I was doing this morning, and I went back to look because I'm having trouble getting my videos up and other kinds of troubles. But so wait, where does it say this? I think it says it, yeah, right here. This statement right here, what this in the white box that's right here, this is always a very important thing to put into your gematria counter. So let's look at that. This is why I think we're seeing foreshadowing to having to do with Obama. And I've seen Casey at Enter the Stars, and I think Zachary K. Hubbard has also alluded to this too, that there are television shows, there are news events in which someone will play the 44 character, and that is supposed to be the Obama character. So it's like they're playing it in code, and it's a form of frequency hypnotism. And the reason why they do this is because they are trying to use you to, through hypnotism, to cause these things to actually happen, because they understand how our quantum world works. So they need you to agree with their plans about the end of the world and all of the chaos. And if you agree with that, they can actually manifest it, because they're basically using your quantum vote to steer reality for everyone. And that's why they're so concerned about this, because people would think, rationally as a human being, you would think, why do they care about brainwashing us? We don't have any power. Well, we are en masse. We have a giant quantum vote. We could change the whole direction of the world. We could say to the mountain, move. Actually, just one or two of us could say to the mountain, move. Most people do not understand their own power, but the Dark Illuminati understands your power, and that's why they are frantically trying to brainwash everybody into believing these prophecies, which were first spelled out by the Vatican insiders when they, the Nicene Council wrote the Bible. Francis Bacon edited it. That was the very first monopoly on media. That was the first mass brainwashing document. So that's not going to be a free document. Plus it has Freemason signs all over it. I think there is some truth nuggets in there, and they did that because if there wasn't any truth in there, humans are so decent that if there's no truth in a document, they won't read it. So you have to stick some truth in there, otherwise you can't get the humans to read it. That's why when they try to brainwash you, they throw truths, lies, they mix it up, half-truths, they mix it all up so that they can get their message in, because humans actually have a way of sniffing it out. But they make it so confusing it's hard to get out. Okay, so anyway, here we have a 22, which is the number that I think of as the slave number. This is the Ham of Abraham. When they made a covenant with Abraham, it wasn't a covenant that like you think. It was a oath. It was a coven. Think about witches. A witch's coven. It was a oath of a coven. And the oath was that because Abraham showed his loyalty to the Anunnaki gods, and he was willing to sacrifice his son for them, he was allowed, they used his DNA, and they entrusted to him. And if you read the real covenant, what it is, this is what the royalty and the elite follow, which is to keep the commoners in the dark. That's the real covenant. So anyway, Ham adds up to 22, and Buckingham Palace is about the enclosure of slaves. So the slave number is 22 because this is the very lowest number on the scale of being a human sentient. And from here it goes to 23, and then it eventually goes all the way up to 32, and then 33 is the 33rd degree Mason. That's where they consider that you're free, and you have become a a higher level of sentient. You have unfrozen yourself. You're not a zombie anymore. It's almost like if you think about it, Fahrenheit and a temperature kind of scale, you're frozen until you get to 32. So those are basically all zombies. You are frozen into the will, another person's will. You don't have a lot of ability to define your own will. Then on the 33rd degree, you've thawed, and you are able to think and enact your own will. Then we have the 44 right here. This is the number for Obama because he's the 44th president. This is also, this 244 meridian, Casey at Enter the Stars has worked on this and how it heads out from the Hoover Dam and goes to Obama's birthplace, and how a lot of assassinations happen along this meridian or this heading. So just want to tell you that these things, it looks harmless right here, right? This has tons of code in here. I could take each of one of these words probably, but I took it all in one shot because that's how they presented it. Okay, so here we have a 9 gate. And here we also have 6s, because I've been talking in other videos about 9s and 6s. So here we have a 9 gate, and it's also a 36 gate. They love these, and it's kind of a Venus gate. Now, I did my videos, and then I was driving around doing my errands, and I was thinking, okay, wait, the Bride of Christ is symbolic of, Mary Magdalene, right? And Mary Magdalene has the title of Marie, and the Cathars saw her as related to the mother also, I don't know exactly how they saw it because I never met them and talked to them or read their documents because they all got killed by the Vatican Church. But reportedly they saw women as equals, and they saw the mother and the wife of Christ as divine. And so what I wanted to say about that is that Isis, Inanna Ishtar, all those names, Diana, Artemis, all of those names that have to do with what they call the moon goddess, and I don't think that I think the moon, her being a moon goddess, is a distortion. She's actually from an exoplanet that has a crescent shape. So it's just distortion, layers and layers upon, and this is why it's hard to see through this kind of stuff. So they call her a moon goddess, but it's not the moon, that's a distortion. But anyway, Inanna Ishtar, Diana, Artemis is supposed to be the embodiment of Venus. Now this is these 2 zeros in the middle of your gateway number, that's the Venus sign. You will see this also, like say on the, what's it called, the very first money that they made, pieces of 8. And it is actually on a lot of different money. And I think that it has to do because money is a religion. A lot of people don't think of that as a religion, but it is a religion. It has to do with, there's oaths, allegiances, alliances, worship, changes your motivation. It can override your ethics. So it has raised to the power of a religion, and that's why they put these on there. Now, if this is your first video listening to me, I do believe that there are many Illuminati houses, and some of them there are various shades of satanic to maybe people who are reformed satanic. There's a bunch of shades of them, and there's more. I kind of sometimes they summarize as that there's good Illuminati and there's bad Illuminati. There's good Freemasons and there's bad Freemasons. There's really a whole shade of them, and there's a lot of royal houses, and so some of them are putting codes in places for good reasons to help people figure out what's happening and to preserve sacred knowledge, and some of them are destroying codes, and also some of them are distorting the codes. So like say you have Hitler distorting the swastika, or also I guess the 8-8 has also been distorted by the Nazis. So you have to really go back far, especially before the Nicene Council and maybe before the beginning of the Vatican, to try to understand what these symbols have meant before these modern negative satanic Freemasons got a hold of them. Okay, here we have another bridge. This is a 9 bridge right here, and this is a bridge gate. This is a 9. I would say this is a 9 Venus gate right here because it has 2 zeros, and this would be a 6 gateway because I think of the 101 as a gateway number. please go see my video about the market crash where that guy wears a 1012 on his lapel, and I think that has to do with the Georgia Guidestones code that they put on their jam. Well, this is, besides being a Freemason sign, which is the 5-1 and the 1-5, and also the Freemason has to do with 76, which we also saw in this last thing that I showed you on the other gematria page I showed you. This is a 6 gate. So what that basically means, this is a 9 gate. This is a 9 Venus gate, and this is a 6 gate. So you have your 9 and 6, which is the funeral of Princess Diana, and that's also 9:15, which is the end of Jade Helm. And I think it's also symbolic of the 816 number that we found in Dylan Stormroof symbolism, the 2 skeletons below the Hoover Dam, and the Georgia Guidestones. So I think that you can think of 9-6 as that. So when we see the 9s and the 6s together, but it also has to do with Saturn and the speed of Saturn and Saturn worship and Kronos and all of that, because we are in a time trap, and they want to keep the trap going. Okay, so we have the 9 here, and we have the 6 here. But what I wanted to tell you, you probably already realized, is that this 36 is a trinity. It's a trinity of 666, because it's 18 plus an 18, which are both 3 6s, and then the summation of 36 is a 666. So that's like a trinity, and they made it into a gate. So this is not just a random saying that some people typed in there, like, what should I type in here? Oh, type anything. No, they had a very special thing they typed in there. Just wanted to tell you all that. So got a little verbose on that one. Let me pause this and take another look over there. All right, well, in one of my other videos, I did another statement. Before they rewrote all this, I did another statement that included the 23-page manifesto, and I gematria that. But I wanted to see, since they changed it, what it looks like now. So I just wanted to show you this. There's your 36 again in the English, and your 60 in the simple gematria. So that's a little bit, it's a smaller version of what I just showed you with this statement, where you have the 36 and the 6. You see how this is very carefully crafted here. That's why they call this the craft. Freemasonry is called the craft, you know, so they take this work very seriously. Now, this person is also demonstrating that he sort of fell for the Columbine shooting. I mean, not the Columbine, the Charleston shooting. I don't think he did. I think this is all a put on. But he's kind of like, he's trying to lead the way for a bunch of people to be outraged about this. So, hopefully people will not fall for this. Please talk to people about what is going on in the news, and that they are trying to create a race war, and tell them about how they're going to try to make it more realistic now that people are catching on. I've tried to talk to mainstream people about this, and I know it's very hard to break through their mentality. But I feel like we have to do something, because I feel like a lot of people are falling for this. So they don't look at the numbers. They don't even somebody just reading this who didn't know gematria, they would notice these strange numbers that keep popping up. You know, that one's weird too. So here you can just tell which one is going to be the. Here we have a 6-9. I talked about that in another one, but you could just look at these. Here's another 6-9. You could just look through here, and you don't need to know very much to be suspicious about what's going on here. I mean, right, even here, 45, 9, 6. I mean, how over the top is this? One thing I want to point out is this guy, you know, if he really did this, if this really happened, I don't know what level of hoax this was. But the reason why they chose him to be in this story is because he has a nice face. And they are trying to break down the last barriers to a race war. White people seem to be very timid. I love black people, and I'm not afraid of black people, and I'm comfortable around them. But I think that most people, especially over here we're in the West Coast, that it's not as much of a comfortable relationship as it is on the East Coast. I've lived on the East Coast before, and it's much more comfortable and normal. But I think that they used a friendly-faced black person or a friendly-faced mixed racial person to cause people to distrust all people. I think they, just like with Dylan Stormroof, they chose him because he looked so dumb, and they chose this guy to play this part because he looks so safe. So anybody who would believe this would think, oh my gosh, if I saw him, I wouldn't even know. And they would just believe that maybe all black people aren't safe because of this. I just want to point that out, that he was cast because of how he looks. White people and black people need to not buy this. These guys who run the media are crooks. And another level of the symbolism here, this could be a message to journalists, because there have been some stories lately where I thought, gosh, are the journalists becoming free? I've been noticing journalists speaking out more into what I think is closer to the truth than normal. So I was wondering, wow, all of a sudden the journalists are becoming brave, and then we have this story about journalists dying, which may or may not be true. So I don't think that's a coincidence. So you can see how strategic all of this is on so many levels. Now it looks like they took down, let me see, let me go to the bottom. Oh, nope, they didn't take that down. That's still there. Oh, I was going to gematria this statement. Let me pause it. All right, well, so here again we have a gateway. This is a 12 gateway. I haven't really seen them use this before, but we know that 12 is a very important number. It's one of our really basic numbers of our whole system. 12 and 60 are the base numbers of our math systems. So the Jewish gematria usually has something very overarching, or a kind of a powerful punch with that. Here we have the 155 number that I talked to you about, plus, what is this? It's a 6 and a 9. Okay. Here we have, it looks like it could be a 7 or a 14 or an 11 or a 7-11. There's a few different ways to read this, but one of the things I also want to point out is that this together is a 14. And then we know that I think there are World Trade Center echoes in this shooting because of the number of people and because of the Venus symbolism, which was also shown in some of the numbers. But so here, so in the World Trade Center, those were up for 28 years. And here is 2 times 14. So I just wanted to point that out. I could probably find more 14s and 28s as well. All right. I don't remember if I mentioned this already, but I just wanted to point out that today is an 888, and I was driving, and then I realized I was just driving, and then all of a sudden I realized, well, that's kind of the same as an 816 if you add the second 2 8s. And that ties in to everything that we've been talking about with phi, because phi is 618 after the decimal point, and those numbers stay solid through a square if you square phi. And we've seen this number, this 816 number, which is the reverse of the 618 number, and if you take the digital root of these, you have a 96. And I've showed a bunch of tie-ins with this, showing why they care about this. And so today could be seen as an 816 day. And that could be why all of this happened. And if you watch my other videos on this subject that are coming up today, you will see, also the stock market has an 816, like stock market, the gematria of stock market is 816. And that was on the Georgia Guidestones, on the other things that I mentioned. And then also Bride of Christ is 816, and Bride of Christ matches Allison Parker's name, and she's also an 816. So So many things going on here. So we just got to look at the code. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.